This video I will demonstrate how to tie my favorite perch rig when fishing on the pole or on the whip. Before going any further, I must talk about the floats which are suitable for perch rigs. Basically, it's very important to have antenna which is thick enough. It should be from 2.5 to 3 millimeters, or those are the diameters which I found work the best for me. You have to understand that you will be using quite big baits, really, lobworms, prawns, etc. And if the antenna would be too fine, the float would be affected by the flow too easy or by the wind. And if the antenna will be thick enough, you will be able to avoid those side effects, and you will be able to read the bites very well when the perch will be taking the bait, and you will be able to see the float going under, waiting a little bit and then striking into the bite. And now let's tie the rig. So as you can see, I have a rig made out of all correct components, but obviously as I used relatively thin fluorocarbon line for that rig, you won't be able to see anything, or wouldn't be able to see anything how to tie this rig. So for this demonstration I will be using dark line and thick line just purely for demonstration, but again, for your own rigs use fluorocarbon one. And for perch I would advise to use about 0.15 will be ideal. You don't want to go any bigger. You can go a little bit lower, but really 0.15 will be strong and reliable and won't affect the presentation too much, really. Okay, let's tie the rig using this thick and dark line purely for visibility purposes. I won't go into the detail about how much of the line to put on the winder or how many turns to do with this black line. I just will cover the basics. So I will grab the same diameter sleeve, one long over like 1.5 centimeters probably, and two, let's say 0.7 centimeters or so in length. Then I will grab my float, we'll put the float onto the line, then we'll put all three of the sleeves onto the line, and the last should be the longest one. Okay. Now ideally I should wet the bristle of the float a little bit, or the stem, I don't know how you call it correctly, but the base of the float, you would want to wet it a little bit so you wouldn't damage the sleeves or the line. Okay, first sleeve is on. Second is almost on. Okay, the second one is on, and now the third one. I will move those two a little bit forward onto the float, just like that. That middle one was quite stiff, so the first one should be relatively close to the main body of the float. The middle one should be in the middle, obviously, and the last one should be on the base, but not fully. As you can see, it's not fully on the base, just a little bit. So it allows for the rig to be a little bit more tangle free, if you like. Then I will be using, obviously, as this float takes 1 gram of the weight, I will be using an Olivet. That's a Drennan 0.7 grams Olivet in line type as well. So I just threaded it onto the line. Then I will grab a couple of shots. Those are Balabeni shots, Italian ones. Those are the best ones you can get, I guess. They are very, very uniform and quite soft. And really they are the best you can get. So it will be quite difficult to put them on the thick line because they are number 8s, as you saw. But on a real rig with a thinner line, they would go perfectly. Even now they do look okay. Okay. I will put 2 shots below the Olivet and 1 above. Just like that. Okay, now this area where I was putting those shots on, obviously it got damaged by the initial squeeze of the shot, so I will have to move the float a little bit towards or away from those shots so I would have more room, and then I will slide those shots carefully, like one by one. You don't want to rush here, away from the damaged area. Olivet, and then another shot, and then the last one. And now I will feel where the damaged area is. Just here I can feel it. I will grab above and will make a small loop using Ringer's loop tire. Basically now all my shots are on a fresh line and not damaged one. Okay, now I have a loop at the end where I will be able to put my hook link on just by using loop to loop connection. Okay, so I will move my float even further. Now I will slide those shots further as well. Will lock my Olivet more or less with the shots, just like that. And that's it. I have one shot here, which will be my dropper shot, and I can put my rig onto the winder. Obviously I won't do all the wraps onto the winder because I know how many I need to do. I worked it out, it will be 22 as I said, but I will show you how you want to have the end of the rig. So that's a line which is going from the float, and let's say I would have put 22 wraps on the winder, and in the end you want to have a big loop. I will use figure of 8 knot just to have a big loop. Now I will use Ringer's loop tire just to make a smaller loop using that that line or double top line of that loop. So, and now I ended up with actually I will trim off the tag end so you'll be able to see a little bit better. Okay, now I have 2 knots on that double top line. I will trim off the little just end where that loop was. I don't need that because when you have a loop on the end it might get snagged or something, and you need to have a little tags for removing the rig, because that's important to have long enough but not loop in my opinion, so you would be able to grab onto those little tag ends. So once you want to connect this rig onto your pole or whip, you just grab the line below, somewhere in between the float and that like knotted area. You double it over and just pass through that double top line. And when you want to like connect to something, this little rig, you just push that or just put over that thing you want to connect it, so pole or a whip, and just tighten up. And as you can see, it is working like a lasso. That's it. It's secure, very, very secure and simple way to connecting the rig onto the whip or a pole. And when you want to disconnect it, you just grab those two little tag ends, just give it a push and the rig will come loose. So yeah, very simple and very effective like way of connecting the rig onto the pole or a whip. And now I will put this rig onto my winder. Just will start by the loop where the hook will go, or hook link, and will make as many wraps as I need really. In this case just a few, because I had just a little bit shorter line. Okay, and now I will grab that elastic and will connect that elastic to that loop, just to secure the rig in place. And that's it. That's the original one with the correct line, and that's just for demonstration. Awesome. But it will be it from me for today. I hope you'll find this video useful. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.